So sometimes people, I guess, make fun of me for my hyperbole and my hot takes, which I always think is unfounded. I think I'm quite measured in all ways at all times. But I've got a hot take, and that is that I firmly believe that we are in the single biggest technical and technological and professional revolution of our lifetimes. And I sincerely believe that is the accurate, unembellished truth. um, the past 3 years have been an absolute roller coaster for most agencies I know, and they've been remarkable inside of Newfangled in every way, positive and negative. It's been a ride, and not all of it, but much of it has to do with the birth of AI in a practical, usable way and everyone's reaction to it. And so that's what I want to talk a little about today. Newfangled started in 1995 as a technological partner for agencies. In 95, the web was the big, scary, mysterious thing that agencies had no idea how to deal with. Like they really didn't. And we've just loved helping agencies with like the hard tech stuff for the past 31 years. And there are so many parallels between what's going on today and the threats and opportunities agencies are facing and what was going on in 1995 with the advent of the web. The difference is this time it's a lot faster. It's a lot more intense. There was like a grace period almost from like 95 to 2000 where agencies could like slowly come up to speed, incorporate web into their print offerings, and it was mostly opportunity, not that much threat. They were scared, they were intimidated, but they were able to figure it out and they had the time to figure it out. And I think a lot of us feel now that we don't have the time to figure anything out because as soon as we figure one thing out, it's changed and there's a new thing that's 10 times more powerful than the last thing. And it just feels like that kind of thing is happening all the time, like weekly, monthly, quarterly. It's just always, the battle between these major LM providers is fierce. Really fun to watch, really exciting, but it can be dizzying as a business owner. And, this started from my perspective in January of 2023. That's when GPT 3.5 got up to 1 million users. And that's when everyone realized, okay, this is real. This isn't going anywhere. This is powerful. But in those early days, it couldn't really do a whole lot. It was different. It was certainly not Google, right? But people were trying to figure out how to make practical use of it and having a hard time of it. But we decided right then, okay, this, even though it's not that powerful right now, this is coming for this industry in all kinds of ways that some of which we can envision at that time and some we could not at all envision at that time. And we decided we have to live in this. We have to be fully aware of exactly what's possible, what's not possible, where all the limits are, right? We just have to live in it and really become deep, deep experts. And since, our bent from the beginning has always been to be inside of the hard tech stuff and be a guide for agencies through that, it came very natural to us. That's how we're composed as an organization. Those are the people we have on staff. That's how we think. It's what's exciting and interesting to us, even if it's really intimidating at the same time, which it was. And so we tried figuring out like how to make proper use of this technology. And then a year and a half later, we created an actual product around this called Magnolia. And we invested a massive amount of real money and real time and real effort. And we were all really proud of that product. It was an amazing thing. It still exists today. It still has a strong user base. But one of the main learnings we had from that time was, the pace of change is so rapid. Trying to build a set product is just a bit of a fool's errand, right? We're just not going to be able to keep up, right? And so we learned a tremendous amount. And while we were doing that, we were still pursuing, well, there's got to be a more comprehensive use for this stuff, right? Not a one-off thing, but like a comprehensive thing. And in May of 2025, that's when when Sonnet matured. It came out sometime before that, maybe a year before that. And that's also when Claude Code matured. So Claude really came into its own in May of 2025. So exactly a year ago, right? And that's when we realized, okay, now it's on. Now we can actually really build significant things, reliable things. And it turns out business changing things. And we set out to do that. And we did piece by piece reinvent our entire firm, ground up. Everything from how we manage finances to how we work with clients to how we actually create our work to how we work with each other, how we collaborate. Every single aspect of the business has been wholly revolutionized by this really extraordinary tech. And like, once you see that, you just can't ever go back. It's such a better way of working. And what it's heralded is this age of like creation. I really think it's the age of the creator now. And it's taking people who didn't think of themselves as creators and making them creators. Watching that light turn on for each and every individual inside of Newfangled has been just absolutely incredible. And each of those lights turning on has an exponential effect on the power of the business, the expertise of the business, the capabilities of the business. So I think we are in a very clear situation where agencies have to reinvent themselves completely to not just be AI enabled, but to become AI native. AI enabled looks like, okay, you've got, maybe you give everybody a budget for an LLM seat and you're paying 20 to 50 bucks per person and they might have Gemini or GPT or Claude, whatever it may be, and they're all like, doing AI, right? That's enabled. You're sort of using it like a Google proxy, right? That is not at all what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a unified AI platform the entire agency runs on, where every interaction that every person inside your firm has makes that platform better and better and better every day. That is just exponentially powerful. And we see it firsthand. We've seen it inside Newfangled, and now we see it for the clients we're working with. It is just a massive flip in how agencies can operate. And so I understand there's a lot of fear around this and a lot of confusion around this. And the pace of change is absolutely dizzying, as I mentioned. But I think this could absolutely be the golden age of agencies because it is the age of the creator and agencies create. So we've actually created a new brand for this called Newfangled Frontier. And it's dedicated to helping you work through this and to make AI a incredibly powerful force that your entire agency runs on, a system that you are never going to go back from. And it has to be custom for each and every firm because you run differently. You have different tools, different systems than the next agency. And that's true. That's just how agencies are. Very few standards. But when you actually get AI to work for you on your terms, it's an absolute thrill. And it is a business changing, bottom line changing event. So you can check out the site, frontier.newfangled.com. If you'd like to talk about any of this stuff at any time, I would love to. It's my favorite topic. We're all really passionate about it. It's a lot of fun, and we learn through every single conversation we have with every one of our awesome agency partners, friends, clients, etc. So permanent invitation to have a conversation. So we'll be doing a lot more of this coming up, and so I look forward to seeing you again soon.